Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be looking at Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 2, Episode 7, Beast King Rampage. And I've got to admit, I actually generally really liked this episode. It was a little bit different, and I generally thought it was really cool. So if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. And with that, we're going to jump straight in. So yeah, let's do it. Now, before I continue, I generally think they could have done a lot more with this entire episode, a lot more kind of sneaky digging in, like little plot twists all the way through. But we kind of get the payoff that we've seen through the other episodes coming up to this. So first of all, we open up in the new cyber dimension where everyone is kind of gathering around. Scruzzle has actually now finished his virus and he's now putting it into a dart. We get kind of a backstory to what happened. So obviously Nate was taken over in the last episode. He comes to the cyber dimension and he finishes the coding for this new virus. Evox then turns around and says that this malware will hack it into the new systems. And I generally think that there could have been a lot more. You could have got Nate to do more stuff. Like to kind of maybe like put a program so that the Rangers' powers will stop, etc., etc. It would have been kind of really cool, and I hope this hasn't been like a major waste, that we do see some more kind of sneakiness coming out from this new dimension and everything like that. Blaze and Roxy seemed very impressed with what's going on. We then get Evox turning it into the mayor and doing his evil laugh, which we saw previously in the Hasbro reaction that was a few months ago. We now come to Grid Battle Force and everyone is kind of around and they're being summoned by the kind of general, I think, basically the head boss, etc. And he's talking about a new project. As he's kind of waiting, he wants to give the Rangers a sneak peek because Mayor Daniels and the new person is coming in and they're more like, huh, what? Oh. As they're all waiting, the general then puts up on screen a sneak peek footage, but it's just literally Ben and Betty doing kind of like karate and not doing it very well, and obviously the general doing the same. It doesn't really kind of take away from it, but I generally kind of think that maybe that could have come in a little bit later, that this was actually forced into it, which I didn't kind of like. And also, why are you using old technology? That camera, dear God, that takes DV tapes. Perfect, I kind of like it. But dear God, it's something different. You think that there may be a better camera that they could have used. So the mayor comes in with Megan, and I didn't notice this, but she was in the trailer for season 2. I didn't notice that at all. Everyone is kind of like, Megan, and she's very sorry for what she did previously. And I was kind of right to some degree. I said that maybe Megan would come back on the evil side a bit. Evox would recruit her, and this is kind of it. So I'm going to take it as that was a nod. Yes, that was a thing. So we got the Beast X King Zord that Megan has been working on in a secret project, but because she's walked in, like I've got to admit, seeing Nate's reaction was like, it was pure hatred. Like, oh my God, I can't believe this girl's done this, and having a go. So this was a very kind of like a big thing. And I actually really liked Abraham's acting in this one. Zoe was also kind of like, what the hell, why are you here, Megan? And I also kind of, when watching Jackie's live stream briefly, or when Megan comes in, she's like, Megan, and it just reminded me of Drake and Josh. It just made me think about it all the way through. So Megan explains that she's been working in secret on this new project, this new Zord, and Nate's more like, what the hell? Like, I should be the one knowing about this. I haven't. So what's all that about? When the Zord comes out, everyone is impressed. We've got some of the Sentai footage of the kind of hangar bay opening, which is like a giant rock, and everyone's like, oh my God. As everything's going on, you can see the mayor kind of smiling because he knows what's going to happen. Roxy and Blaze have come in and they've thrown the virus dart straight at the Beast King. I've got to admit, that was kind of cool. I would like to see more of this much later on. Everyone is kind of shocked what's going on, and Nate turns around to Megan and says, hey, did you install that virus malware? And one thing you generally would have thought is that would be the first thing that you do. You instantly install it because you know Evox is a computer virus, so why wasn't this done? So yes, like the reaction when Megan's like, I didn't, I'm really, really sorry. And Nate's more like, oh, like you could tell he just want to go, you idiot. all the way through. So it was kind of interesting to see Megan kind of fail, but again, she's actually been working on this, and I've got to admit, like, her work on this project was absolutely phenomenal. It's just this one thing where she feels unsure of herself a little bit. The commander turns around and says to Devon that he's got to go out to try and disable this Zord, to try and get it under control. And then we get pretty much this entire whole episode is that kind of fighting from plans being kind of worked into it. It's also kind of really weird because most of this is just fighting. That's all it is of the Zord, so there's not really much back and two. So this might be my kind of thoughts on this. So Megan knows exactly more about it, and you kind of think that Nate would want to work with her a bit more, but the feelings of Megan blackmailing both of them, mainly Zoe, about this was a major big thing. But you kind of think Nate would have put all that past very quickly and gone, right, we need your help. So his sorts of plans are to kind of activate it, to kind of like reprogram it so it works on their side, but it doesn't work like that. And they actually turn it into the megazord mode. It's like kind of defense mode, which is its own megazord, which looks kind of cool, but it doesn't kind of work that well. And the Zord is still under the control of Evox. I do like the fact that the mayor, when it kind of cuts to him most times, he's kind of smiling like, haha, I know what's gone wrong. So that is kind of very interesting, to say the least. Megan keeps reaching out to Nate, but it doesn't kind of work like that. It feels like he's just kind of, again, dismissing her. And Megan reaches out to Zoe and says, hey, look, Nate's plan's not going to work. This is not going to work. It does take a while for Zoe and Nate to kind of say, we need to work with Megan. She is the leading expert on this Zord. So what's kind of interesting in this whole thing is Megan isn't like what she was in the first series. She actually feels like she is a workaholic, and she's been researching and doing a lot more work. You also get introduced to the Ultra Bow, which is the same sort of device that Blaze and Roxy did with the virus arrow, and they're going to kind of work with it. So therefore, they take it to the area with the lion. Blaze and Roxy teleport in with Tronics, and like kind of a huge fight. Nate does actually kind of take control and fires the arrow that they've constructed straight into the lion, and it kind of like overrides its programming and then kind of puts it back to control. As the Rangers are fighting Blaze and Roxy, Blaze actually goes off to fight Devon in his Megazord, or his Zord at least, blah, 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 and Devon just destroys it quite quickly. But as he's on the actual Beast X King, when Blaze is attacking this, it just literally turns into a motorbike for like Devon's Zord to ride. And it just feels like it's one of those product placements that you see for toys that don't exist in the show. Like, hey, here's Spider-Man and his car. When does Spider-Man have a car? You never see it because it's not there. But boom, this just seems to be like a massive toy kind of selling thing. So I can imagine this being a thing much later on that Hasbro kind of release. Kind of wrapping up the episode, Devon actually destroys it because he actually goes into the Beast King Megazord. I'm going to call it that. I know it's not that, but he goes inside the Zord and thus that takes it over and actually destroys Blaze's Megazord. And then literally they all go back to the base and they're all saying like, oh, thanks, Megan. You've done really well. Welcome to the team effectively. You're going to be working here at Grid Battle Force again. Blah, blah, blah. Loads of little things like this. And then the kind of last thing, Ravi puts down the arrow, the virus, on the side and says like, we've got to get rid of this properly. And then when Ben and Betty come in to kind of clean up, Ben throws it into the trash, but then actually it hits Steel's legs and therefore causes a bit of chaos because the legs turn evil under the virus, and thus therefore Steel detaches from it and his legs go run amok. And that's meant to be that so funny. It wasn't. To me, it wasn't. If it was to you, then let me know down below in the comments. So my final thoughts on this one. This episode was actually a really good episode. It kind of moved forward a lot, and it showed that it just wasn't the same generic, let's go beat the bad guy, let's go this. Apart from the King Zord being the bad guy of this one, there wasn't a monster of the week, which you don't normally see in Power Rangers. I like that Megan had come back, but her character had completely changed. I think that maybe she wanted to work on a project that was like amazing, and this kind of got into her. So she was more like, yeah, what I did to Nate and Zoe, that was bad. Most of the stuff in the episode was fine. It did show that Nate needs to kind of listen. So when he's turned around to Devon in the past or any of the other Rangers and said, you need to listen to me, I think that Nate needed to take some more of his own advice. I'm glad that Megan had said, I'm really sorry, this won't ever happen again, and things had gone over. But you kind of think that even though if they were still kind of enemies, that Nate would still go to her because she pretty much built the sword. She helped make it. So again, it felt like he was just kind of shrugging off due to the kind of past. I do think that Megan needed to kind of like stand up a bit more and then shout at Nate and go, listen to me, your plans will not work, and kind of like make a stand. So it was all kind of a little bit emotional, but it was more kind of more character development, which is fine. But for this one, I think the episode was fantastic. The fight between the Lion and Devon, that was kind of fun to see. It actually felt more kind of like the old school Mighty Morphing, when you had like things going wrong and Billy had to run around and try and kind of fix it, or would it be more kind of Zeo, that sort of way. But it felt more like a Power Ranger episode, more than just a kind of, we're gonna tell you what's gonna happen and that's it. So for seeing this, I genuinely really enjoyed it. I think that the acting was really great, and I really like Abraham's acting in this when he's just really angry. Jackie's kind of like response as well to Megan when she's trying to apologize and say, look, I had things happen in the past, and she's like, yes. I really like that, and I like the fact that the show is kind of paying off to previous past episodes and not just kind of moving on. I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts about this episode? Sorry it's not the kind of similar kind of run to this one, because it was just literally, here's Devon, here's something happening in the lab, back to Devon, something happening in the park, back to Devon. So I didn't kind of really want to keep repeating myself after the same sort of thing. So this is a slightly different format, but things should return back to normal later. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts? Or do you actually like this sort of kind of review where I'm just kind of mainly talking about it? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this sort of content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. And with that, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.